This time we are taking you to magical Istanbul, the city that connects two continents, Europe and Asia. Istanbul in just 3 days? It's gonna be an intense adventure. We'll start with the city's top landmarks and mosques, explore both the European and Asian sites, try some local food, and take a boat ride along the Bosphorus. We'll show you what things cost, share a few tips, and most of all, capture the unique vibe of one of the most extraordinary cities in the world. And if you'd like to join us for future journeys, don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up and come along as we discover the sights and atmosphere of this incredible metropolis. We chose the premium Taksim hotel only for its location, the perfect starting spot for exploring the city. A night here costs 50 euros. There is no parking or restaurant, but that didn't matter to us. It's clean, affordable, bed is comfortable, and most importantly, right in the heart of Taksim, a perfect base for sightseeing. I highly recommend. Hi. Hiya. Welcome to Istanbul. We have arrived here about 2 hours ago. We checked into the hotel. It's 9 p.m. now. We're going to explore the city. See you there. In Taksim, we couldn't wait to visit Fitchin restaurant, recommended by our hotel receptionist. For starter, we ordered a dish I honestly didn't expect to find in the heart of Istanbul. Dumplings in Turkey. I've tasted them already and they're delicious. They were better than dumplings served in many home-style restaurants back in Poland. For the main course, we went with grilled lamb patties and half chicken, both served with rice and fries. The price? Around 10 euros per portion. Everything was flavorful, perfectly seasoned, and absolutely delicious. Meanwhile, the local guests were enjoying rakia, adding to the amazing lively atmosphere. This is definitely one of those places that stays in our memories. Later, we took a walk down Independence Avenue in the Taksim district, on our way to another gem we found online. This time, the Keyfeder Kunefe Katmir patisserie. It's the place where Anya wanted to have her dessert tonight. They specialize in one of the most famous Turkish treats, kunefe. Ours was served with ice cream, and the price was just 7 euros per portion. How is it? Delicious. Very sweet, but really delicious. And here is how this delicacy is made. Crispy kadayif pastry layered with stretchy cheese, baked in a butter, then soaked in a sweet syrup and topped with crushed pistachios. It's always served hot, so the contrast between the crunchy pastry and the melted cheese inside is simply amazing. This is one of those desserts you have to try when visiting Turkey. And we were absolutely blown away. And here is the morning of a first full day in Istanbul, searching for a restaurant for breakfast. We found one just by the Galata Bridge. Good morning. Morning in Istanbul. We are having a breakfast and then we are heading to visit mosques. For breakfast, we had Turkish Menemen. It's a dish resembling Israeli shakshuka, but not quite the same. Eggs are usually beaten together with tomato sauce, in addition with either meat, cheese or onions, fried in a butter. It's delicious, really. Turks really know how to serve eggs. Now Turkish delight, Turkish coffee. We had a breakfast just by the Galata Bridge, one of the most recognizable spots in Istanbul. Every morning and evening, fishermen come here to catch small fish, mainly sardines and sprats. They catch them for personal use, to fry, grill, or sell in small quantities to local restaurants. The bridge is full of life. Fishermen, tourists, street vendors, and the stunning view of the Golden Horn and the Old City. It's the perfect spot to start the first day of our stay in Istanbul. Not this one, this one yes, not this one, not this one, not this one, this one yes. Such a tip. Those banks don't charge a commission when we withdraw our money from them using our European cards. We've decided to take a bus. Hop on and hop off bus. I think it's a great option for someone who has limited time in Istanbul and they want to see as much as possible. Istanbul is located on two continents. We are going to visit European and Asian part. So let's go. The price for such a bus is around 45 euros per person. We paid total of 4,200 Turkish lira for both of us. Each passenger gets headphones and can listen to descriptions of the sites in several languages. The route goes along the Bosphorus coast, from Eminon on the European side all the way to Kabatas, with the option to stop at multiple points along the way. The bus has several stops at the city's main attractions, so you can hop on and hop off as you like. The ride is very convenient. It saves time walking and money on taxis, which can be extremely expensive in Istanbul. We got off right by the Dolmabahçe Palace, one of Istanbul's most magnificent places, located right by the Bosphorus. The line to get in was so long that we decided to skip it and come back the next day. But of course, we didn't check in advance, and the next day was Monday when it's closed. Rookie mistake. For anyone planning a visit, the ticket is around 50 euros per person. The palace was built in the 19th century and served as a residence of the Ottoman sultans. It's an absolute stunner even from the outside because of its location on the Bosphorus, surrounded by beautiful gardens. Along the way, you pass both historic buildings and amazing Bosphorus views, making the ride both convenient and highly scenic. Oh, and a quick tip. Take an Uber. Otherwise, you might end up paying triple the price in a local taxi. Unless you enjoy the authentic experience of being milked like a tourist cow. We got off at the spot near the tomb of the Sultan Ahmed, and now we are visiting the Blue Mosque, also known as Sultan Ahmed Cami. Remember the dress code. Women should cover their arms and hair, and men should cover their knees. Everyone must also remove their shoes before entering the prayer hall. It is one of the most beautiful and famous landmarks in Istanbul. It was built in the early 17th century, so it's over 400 years old. The mosque is famous for its 6 impressive minarets and an interior decorated with thousands of blue tiles. Despite the crowds of tourists, this place amazes with its architecture and calm atmosphere and is an absolute must-see on any Istanbul trip. While wandering around the city, we couldn't let go of roasted chestnuts. Price for such a bag is around 20-30 cents. Just like for one corn on the cob. The sweets in the local pastry shops looked absolutely delicious. And the sheer variety of cakes and pistachio desserts was absolutely overwhelming. While exploring the old town, we discovered some truly picturesque spots. First, the colorful houses of Balat, one of Istanbul's most atmospheric districts, full of narrow streets and pastel facades. Then we headed to the famous Rainbow Stairs in Karakoy. It's always crowded, but this is where some of the city's most iconic photos are taken. Just around the corner, there is also the so-called Umbrella Street, covered with rows of colorful umbrellas, drawing crowds of tourists and photographers alike. All these places have one thing in common. They're incredibly photogenic and practically made for Instagram. Coffee in Turkey isn't just a regular drink to give you a boost. It's practically a ritual, a tradition cherished for centuries. It's prepared in a special little pot called a cezve. Water and finely ground coffee are added, and the pot is placed over hot coals, often right next to your table. This slow heating creates an intense aroma and a thick, strong brew. And believe me, it's really strong.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, brother.
So much, brother. Goodbye.
Earlier, during a dinner at the owners of Dora, we had a very interesting conversation with him about dogs. We made some video of his dogs, and now when we were coming back, we got a Turkish coffee on the house. And we keep going. We're going to explore another mosque. We are walking in a tunnel for about 400 meters. Anya says she's scared. Are you scared? I am. It's dark, far from home. There is nothing to be scared of. You're with me. And we got to another impressive and beautiful spot. We are at the Süleymaniye Mosque, one of the largest and most important mosques in Istanbul. It was built in the 16th century, between 1550 and 1557, on the initiative of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. The mosque is famous for its elegant architecture, huge dome, and tall minarets. Just like in other mosques, there is a dress code. Women should cover their arms and hair, men should cover their knees, and everyone must remove their shoes before entering the prayer hall. Around the mosque, there are peaceful courtyards and gardens, offering an amazing view of the city and the Bosphorus, perfect for short rest and photos. This place truly showcases the wealth of Ottoman architecture and the spirit of Istanbul. We are watching a beautiful sunset over Istanbul. It's been an amazing day. We've already walked more than 20,000 steps. And it's not over yet. There's still another 2 or 3 kilometers of exploring ahead of us. So let's look at this beautiful sunset. And now we are heading to a place which is a symbol of Istanbul and a great photo spot, especially with its characteristic conical roof in the background. We finally came to Galata Tower, where right under this tower there is a toilet in which every man can refresh their balls. The tower was built in the 13th century and over the years served various purposes, from an observatory to a prison and a watchtower. We admired it from the ground and didn't feel the need to go inside, but for those who want to, the entrance fee is around 30 euros. We also stopped at Viana Kavesi, right next to the Galata Tower. Their delicious San Sebastian cheesecake with Turkish coffee, plus some ice cream and lemonade with a view of the tower, made it one of the moments you just want to remember for a long time. Hiya. Good morning from Istanbul. It's another beautiful day. We are wandering among those colorful streets. We are heading to a restaurant to eat some breakfast. Today, we intend to visit, among the others, the Grand Bazaar. In the evening, we will have a cruise trip. Let's go! We grabbed a quick breakfast on the way to the city. I went for a meat wraps, while Anya chose a traditional Turkish breakfast. In general, breakfast in Istanbul costs between 5 and 10 euros per person, depending on what we order. And here we are again, crossing the Galata Bridge, this time on our way to the Old Town. Our destination, the Grand Bazaar, one of the most famous markets in the world. We were hoping for some big shopping, but honestly, reality was a bit disappointing. Apart from the pushy sellers trying to lure in tourists, the selection and quality of the goods wasn't great. And if something did look decent, the prices were often higher than in branded stores. It's definitely an interesting place to see, but not necessarily the best for shopping. Unless you're just after a few souvenirs or fridge magnets. I also had to stop by a barber. For me, it was my last visit in almost 2 weeks since the last haircut. It cost 20 euros. It's hot like hell, 33 degrees. I look divine. I won't be more beautiful, unfortunately. We are coming back to a hotel now. We change and we go on a cruise trip. See you there. We are at the port now and we are waiting for a boat. A 90-minute boat cruise on the Bosphorus. The port is right next to the Dolmabahçe Palace, and tickets cost just 6.50 euros per person. I advise to book your ticket in advance on the Bosphorus website, just to be sure there is a seat waiting for you. We set off just before sunset, which gave us the chance to admire Istanbul's palaces, mosques and bridges in a full light, from a completely different perspective. Cruising between two continents, Europe and Asia, is truly an unforgettable experience and a must-do when visiting the city. Turkish knockoff of Eminon? Really? Istanbul is definitely a cat city. We only saw 2 dogs throughout our stay, at Dora, but cats were present at every street. For dinner, we went to Salt Bay, right next to the Galata Tower. The burger we ordered cost 20 euros and it was really good. Juicy, flavorful and perfectly seasoned. For a dessert, we tried the classic pistachio baklava with ice cream, which was 12 euros. The waiter prepared it right in front of us, opening the baklava, adding the ice cream, folding it over and cutting it into perfect pieces. Baklava is a famous Turkish dessert. Thin, crispy layers of filo pastry with aromatic pistachios and soaked in sweet syrup. And the ice cream adds the delightful cool touch. We loved it. Hiya. Hiya. Welcome to the last day in Istanbul. After 10 days spent in Turkey, tonight we will fly to Oman. We need to check out from a hotel at 12, but we're still going to use this day for a visit on the Asian side. That's right. Before this happens, we have to do the laundry. Unfortunately, after 10 days, it was somewhat collected. We are now on the way to the laundry with a bag, with a coffee. So, see you there. Traveling isn't just about sightseeing and good food. Sometimes you have to do something more practical, like laundry. It was our first time using a self-service laundromat, and I have to admit it was actually kind of fun. We tossed 10 kilos of clothes into the machine for 10 euros, including drying. About an hour later, we walked out with a bundle of fresh-smelling clothes and the feeling that this was one of the most practical attractions of our trip. Right after checking out from the hotel, we took an Uber to the Asian side. From Taksim, it costs around 15 euros. We started our adventure with a walk through the stalls in Kadıköy, and then strolled through the charming Moda neighborhood, heading towards the famous bull statue, standing at the Six Roads Square. It's one of the most iconic spots in this part of the city and a popular meeting point for locals. From there, we continued towards the waterfront to discover more atmospheric corners of Asian Istanbul. Anya is always following a fashion. Look at this. If not the fact that it has the wheels turned in certain direction, you wouldn't know where the front and where the side is. What an invention. Here it seems like 1980s. All the buildings on the ground floor have a grid in the windows. What a strange pigeons are here. Seriously, it's a big seagull. What a funny ducks are here. Built in the 1920s, for many years it served as a ferry pier, though there were periods when it stood empty and fell into disrepair. The place we came to is called Moda Pier. It's a marina from which boats flow out. Not the huge ones, but those smaller ones. And it's of course on the Asian side of Istanbul. Beautiful. After a major renovation completed in 2022, the pier has regained its former glory and is now full of life again. You can come here for a coffee, visit the library, or simply enjoy the view of the Sea of Marmara and the European side of the city. These local stores look terribly strange. They write there that it is Nagader. I've been there, I didn't see any Nagader. Our Turkish adventure slowly comes to an end. From the magical landscapes of Cappadocia to the vibrant streets of Istanbul, it was a trip full of incredible places, flavors and experiences. One we'll remember for a long time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up so you don't miss our next adventures. Hi folks! We're already at the Istanbul airport. Our adventure in Turkey has come to an end. But we don't say goodbye, we'll see you in the next country. In the next video, we'll show you Oman. See you there! Follow us on Instagram for more behind the scenes moments and details.